Hello again and welcome to this latest after action report video. This is going to be another game of I Ain't Been Shot Mum by the Two Fat Lardies. Second World War set of rules for company level actions, and that's pretty much what this one is. I'm on the Eastern Front again, similar to the previous I Ain't Been Shot Mum game that we played. This is obviously going to be solo. But this is 1941, so it's during the Operation Barbarossa, probably first few days of Operation Barbarossa as the Russians are starting to react to the German invasion. And what we've got here is a Romanian force, so this is down the south of the line, and they're pushing forward, and they've come up against a smallish force of Soviet defenders. Now this time round I'm playing this pretty much straight because I know what figures I've got. I'm not using blinds because there's just no point at this point. So I'm going to play the game basically as a very simple solo game, and we'll just see what happens with it. What I'll do is I'll quickly show you the figures that we've got on the board, show you the board as well, and crack on with the game. Well, the first thing you'll notice is the board is quite a rural board. I just want quite an open game really, so it's kind of got a river running down this side, roads cutting across the centre, a rail track, and also some fields over here, cornfields, which will give light cover to anybody that's in them. There's a couple of patches of trees and some hills and things, so quite an undulating landscape really. And as I say, the Romanians are attacking. They're attacking with two platoons, so we've got the first platoon is over here. So this is made up of 4 sections, each of 10 men. So there's about 40 men in there and a junior leader. Sorry, one big man. So that's 41. Then they've also got a 30 millimeter mortar, and that's an anti-tank rifle. So the tank killers. They've also got on this side, they've got the supporting 3 R2 tanks. So they're going to be supporting on this side over here, and then we have their second platoon, which is over here. This is made up exactly the same as the previous one. Oh, I forgot to mention, yes, we've also got, let me just show you, the headquarters is basically this big man here, and also another tank killer unit there as well. Over here we've got 3 Stug 3s. They've been passed over by the Germans, so they've obviously run into a German unit and picked up 3 Stug 3s to help them along their way over here as well. The Soviets, as I said, they are ultimately defending really, but they are kind of in a bit of an attack position. But they've got 3 platoons. So this is the first one here. These are all made up of the same. So these are 8 men, 3 8-man sections with a big man leader. Supporting these, though, they have 2 T-35 tanks. So these are the multi-turreted tanks. These have got, I think it's a 57mm gun and 2 45mm guns on them as well. So they're quite heavily armoured. They're pretty rubbish armour, but they do have quite a lot of firepower. So they'll be interesting to use. These are the big land ships the Soviets had at the start of the war. Also, with their headquarters is made up of one of their big men and also 2 Maxim medium machine guns. They have over here another section, 2 more platoons here, so these are made up exactly the same. So 1 platoon here, and then also this platoon here, so it's 3 8-man squads and a big man. And then they also have 2 BA-10s armoured cars in support as well, so it's a bit of a reconnaissance mission as well for the Soviets heading down that road. These are armed with 45mm guns as well. So the Soviets have got fewer tanks, so it's 6 against 4 tanks, 4 vehicles, but they have, I think it's around about the same amount in soldiers. So we'll just see how we get on with this and crack on with the game. Okay, so far the Romanians have moved forward. They moved their first platoon, their second platoon forward, but the Soviets have also been able to move forward their second platoon as well. So they've advanced these through the cornfields. They're able to fire at the Romanians here, this front unit, and I'm doing the bucket of dice rules that I played in the last game of I Ain't Been Shot Mum that I played. So instead of rolling on the fire chart, we're rolling 6d6 for each action that the units are using to fire. In this case, both of these have moved, so they've moved 2 dice, so they've only got 1 dice left of actions, so they're going to take their shots with their third action. Now they're firing over 18 inches. I'm going to say it's a poor shot because A, they've moved twice already, and they're firing through cornfields, and they're in pretty good cover from this point. So it's going to be a poor shot. So what we actually need on this chart is we need a 6 to hit first of all, and then we need to re-roll that 6, and we need to roll a 5 again, 5 or a 6 to hit again. So it's making it even harder. So what we'll do, we roll the first dice. If we get any 6s, we re-roll those. 5s or 6s are then hits. So let's do each of these individually. The first section here, let's have a look. So we've got 1 6. So that could then go on to be an actual hit. So we need a 5 or a 6 now. So yeah, so that's 1 hit. So let's make a mark of this and we'll see what happens in a second. Then we've got our second section firing as well. And there's no 6s there, so there's not a single hit. So now we re-roll for the actual hit on the unit. 1 or a 2 is nothing. 3, 4 is a shock. 5 or a 6 is a kill. So 1 or a 2, that's nothing. So the Soviets have fired, but it's resulted in desultory fire. They really need to be stopped still at this point to be able to do any damage against the Romanians. And we've got another Allied platoon that has moved forward. So this is platoon 1. These have come to the edge of this cornfield and they are firing again at the same Romanian targets. They've moved 2 dice, so their third action is going to be firing. So same again, need a 6, then we need a 5 or a 6 to hit at this point. So we've got 1 6 out of those. Not entirely unexpected. So then we need a 5 or a 6. So that's nothing, no hits whatsoever. So the BA-10s have moved forward, or at least one of them has, the other one's a bit slower. It's firing at the Romanians over here with its 45mm gun. On a 1 it will miss anyway, otherwise you take this off the fire table. The worst it can do, if it rolls a 1 or a 2, it does no effect anyway. The worst it can do is just cause 1 hit. So let's just see, but it does automatically pin that unit. So let's have a look. 5 is 1 hit, so we roll for that hit. Same again as before. 4, a 4 is a shock. So there's the Romanian shock. So that's the first on them. Just drawn the T-break card. Very little has actually happened. The Soviets managed to move forward, so they managed to get this platoon forward, their T-35s, also the BA-10s. They fired at the Romanians here, which have pinned them and shot them. This pin now comes off because it's T-break, so that comes off anyway. They also managed to shift forward these 2 platoons. The Romanians only moved forward this 1 platoon over here, so hopefully in this next turn they might actually get off the ground and do something. We'll see how we go with this one. Right, being incredibly aggressive, the Soviets have pushed forward their T-35s, smashed through the hedgerow and into this cornfield, and now it's using it's a 76mm howitzer firing at one of the stugs here. So it's just going to fire at this middle one. So it needs a 5 because it's in the open, but because it's moved it's a -1, so that becomes a 6 or above to hit. So let's just see if it hits. That's a 4, so no, that's no hits. So the stugs breathe a sigh of relief. Right, we've got some Romanian firing. They've moved forward their second platoon, the one that had previously moved. Most of these are moved, so they can't actually fire, but this unit has stopped. This is the one that was under fire. They were pinned, they're no longer pinned. They're firing at these here with all of their dice. But before we do that, we've also got the anti-tank gun, tank killers. They're firing at the BA-10. They've moved forward and they're going to fire 2 shots. The first one is a -1 to hit, and then we've also got the mortar as well, which is going to fire. But first of all, we'll do the anti-tank rifle. So we're looking at, because it moved, it needs a 6 or above to hit. So yes, it's hit straight away. It's got a strike of 3. The BA has only got an armour of 2, so we're looking at, we need 5s and 6s because we're firing at its front aspect. So that's 1 hit. Let's see how many it defends against. It needs 5s and 6s to defend. So it's defended against it. So that's equal hits, including no hits and no saves. So we roll again. And a 3 is the AFE must halt and engage the firer in a firefight on its next activation. So that's all. So it will have to fire back at the anti-tank gun and tank killers. So then it fires again. So it's second shot. So a 6 is a hit again. So same again. 5s and 6s to do any effect. So that's 1 net hit, and then they roll their armour. 2 armour. No, so that is 1 net hit this time. So let's see what happens. So we have a roll of a dice, temporarily immobilised. No movement on the next activation only. So that is temporarily immobilised. And now we have the firing over here. We're firing with the infantry first of all. So we've got, they're firing with their full 3 actions. Because of the range, and because the Soviets are in cover, they're going to need 6s to hit on this, because it's not a great shot. It's an okay shot because they haven't moved, and the Soviets are just in that light cover on the edge of the light cover. They will have, when they do fire though, if they score 3 or more hits, they will pin them. If they score 4 or more hits, they will suppress them. So let's just see what happens with that. So we're looking for 6s on this. So let's get the 6s out. There's no great many of them. 1, 2, 3 hits. So all the rest are misses. But that does pin that Soviet unit straight away. So we'll come back to that in a second. But then 3 hits, 5, 6 are kills, 3, 4 is shock. So we've got 1 kill and 1 shock. The mortars, they are not in direct line of fire because there's a lot of stuff in between, but they're firing at these. They will only cause shock because it's only a 30mm mortar, and so they need 5s and 6s because they can't actually see the target. There's no shock, so that's the mortar fire done. So that's the T-break card pulled, so let's just see what's happened quickly. We've had this unit over here, the Romanians, over here. They've managed to push forward with, on this flank. They've temporarily immobilised the BA-10 at the front. They've also caused quite a lot, bit of shock. They've pinned and also caused a casualty on this section over here of the Soviets. Meanwhile, none of their tanks or this unit has actually got off the ground yet. The T-35s have smashed forward into the cornfields over here, taken a shot at the Stugs but missed, and they're also lining the hedgerows as well with their section over here ready to defend. The Romanians really need to get this lot moving down here because these Stugs, once they get going, they will be pretty good against the T-35s and also against the BA-10s as well. They're the biggest threat at the moment. The infantry, there's plenty of Romanian infantry at the moment to deal with the Soviet infantry. It's just these vehicles that they want to get rid of first of all. So we've got a lot of firing to do over here. The Romanians have pulled their Axis Platoon 2, so that's these guys again. We've got these 3 sections are all firing at this infantry section here to try to destroy them. I put the dice down so I remember what they need to hit. First of all, this section is firing at this section here, and we've also got the anti-tank rifle firing at the vehicle as well. So we'll do that first. I realise that I'd actually been rolling wrong for that previously. It needs to fire at least. It needs a 9 or above to hit at the range it's at, but we'll just say it hit still last time. But it's not going to affect the course of the war, I don't think. But let's get that out of the way first of all. It's got 3 shots. You're supposed to have an action to reload, but because it's an anti-tank rifle, it's going to have a magazine, so I don't think it needs to reload. So it's going to get 3 shots at 9 or above to hit. First one is a 6, that's a miss. Second one is a 7, that's a miss. And his third shot is a 5, so that's also a miss as well then. So that's unfortunate for them, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Right, so now we've got the firing with these. Now these moved with using 2 dice. These moved using 2 dice as well. So they've only got 6 dice to fire. These have only got 6 dice to fire as well over there. So let's get those out of the way as well, first of all. before we go on to the big dice rolls. So these need 5 to hit. No, I'm going to do these first. These need a 6 to hit first of all. So let's just see how many scores they get. That's not a single one. So that's them done. But they have advanced forward. These ones over here, these need a 5 to hit. So they're rolling 6 dice. So we're looking at 5s and 6s. So that's 2 there. So let's get rid of that so we know they fired. And we re-roll, so same again. As before with firing, 3-4 is shock, 5-6 is a kill. So we're looking at 1 kill and nothing else. So that's another kill marker down. These are usually used as shock markers for chain of command, but I like to use dice, so I'm using these as kill markers instead. They look a bit better than the pegs that I normally use. So that's them fired. Now we've got these ones over here. These are standing still, so these are firing with the full 18 dice instead. So let's grab those, say that as well. So these are looking for 6s to hit. They've only got 1 shock, so that doesn't affect them. If they had more shock, for every 2 points of shock you would remove dice from this pool, but they haven't, so we're firing with these. And we're looking at 6s here. So we've got 2 hits there. For all out firing, this is not looking too good from the Romanians. So let's have a look. Same again, 5-6 kills, 3-4 shock. 2 2s, absolutely nothing. Brilliant. So now over here we've got these. These are firing at 5s at the ones in the woods there, because they're quite close. They've stopped. They haven't moved, so they're getting all 3 of their actions to fire. So that's 18 dice, and they need a 5 or above to hit. So let's just see. That's a 4. So let's have a look at our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. That's a bit more like it. And let's just see if these cause any kills and or shock. So 1 kill and 2 shock. So we've just activated Allied Big Man number 2, which is this guy here with 2nd platoon. He's ordered these 2 from his 2 levels, these 2 forward. So these are moved slightly forward, these moved a bit more forward. They've only used 1 dice, 1 action to move forward. So they are firing at this Romanian unit here, both of them. Rolling 12 dice, because they're using 2 actions to fire. So the first one, you need 6s to hit because of the range, and it's an okay shot. So that's 3 hits on those Romanians there. So let's just quickly roll those. So it's 5 6s are kills. So that's 2 kills and nothing else. Let's just make a note of that for now. So there's the 2 kills. And then we've also got the other ones doing exactly the same. 12 dice, 5s and 6s to hit. So that's only 1 this time. So we re-roll that, see how many casualties we cause. That's another casualty. That's 3 Romanians off there. So that reduces their actions. This section now only has 2 actions due to its casualties. Right, so these Romanians have managed to get their stugs moving. So they've moved forward using 1 action. The next action, 2 actions, are going to be to fire at these T-35s. This one is going to fire here if it can, this one here if it can, and then this one will fire at this one. If that gets destroyed, or if it's destroyed by those, it will then fire at the one at the back, which is obscured. But they've moved, so it's a -1, so they need a 5. -1 becomes a 6 to hit. So they both each have got 2 shots. So the first one, that's a 3, so that's a miss. His second shot, that's a 4, so that's a miss. Then we've got this one here. He's firing his 2, so 7, so that's 1 hit. So we'll check that, see what happens. Now they have a strike of 8, the Stugs, against a armour of, I think it's 3 for the T-34s, yes, it's T-35s, so an armour of 3, so 8 against 3. So first one is hits are 5s and 6s, so that's 2 hits. So the T-35 needs to defend against those. 1, so that is 1 net hit against the T-35. We re-roll that, see what happens. A 2 is temporarily immobilised, no movement on its next activation only. Then we have its second shot, I think he only fired one, I can't remember in all the excitement. Let's let it roll again. So a 6 anyway, it's a hit. So yes, it's hit again. 2, 4, 6, 8 strike dice. 5s and 6s, it's more healthy, so that's 3 hits this time. T35 has 3 defense, so it's looking for 5s and 6s, that's none. So a 3 net hits is the AFE is destroyed. We dice for 1 hit on each crewman with a 5 or a 6 resulting in a crew. Well, I'm going to forget about the crewmen. Once they're out of the game, I think they're out of the game. But mine goes the first T35. Then we have, this one's going to take 2 shots against the obscured one. So now instead of a 6, it's going to be a 7 to hit. He's got 2 shots. First one, 6 is a miss. His second shot, that's an 8, so that's a hit this time. So same again, 2, 4, 6, 8 strike dice. And we have 1, 2, 3 net hits. So he's got to defend against at least one of these to be still in the game. 6 is defended against 1, so that is 2 net hits. We roll for those. That's a 5 or a 6 main gun out of action for the remainder of this game. But it still has 2 45mm guns, so it's still pretty heavily armed, should I say. But that's taken down 1 T35, so the Stugs have done well for the first thing they've done this game. Right, so we got the T35. There's only one of them, singular. It's returning fire at the Stug over there. So we're looking at a 6 or above because it's partially obscured. But he's got 3 shots at our Stug. So let's just see how many hits. First one was 1 hit. I'm going to want to roll all of them first of all. Let's just go through because that's all it's doing. Second one is an 8, so that's a hit as well. And then our final shot. So he's actually managed to hit with all 3 of them. So that's pretty good. So it has a strike of 5. The Stug has armour of 6. So let's go with the first shot. That's the first of 3. So that's no hits. But the Stug may not save all of those, so we've still got to roll for the Stug. Let's just see. Yes, it's saved 1, so that's ignored. So the next shot, second one. So we're looking for 5s and 6s, so a 6, 1 hit. The Stug's defence. Doesn't defend any, so that's 1 net hit. So we'll re-roll that. We have a 4 is engine damage. 1 pip per dice, minus 1 pip per dice of movement from now on. So that's there to show that, minus 1 movements. And then their final hit, their third hit, has caused 1 hit. The Stug's defence, 5s and 6s again, has defended 2, so that takes it into minus numbers, so that's no effect, but they have damaged their engine. Okay, so over here we've got the Allied big man, number 1, this guy here for this platoon. He's too far away to actually do anything with anybody else, but he's ordered this unit to move forward. They've used 1 dice to move forward, they moved an inch forward. They're firing at these over here. It's going to be a 6 to hit because it's quite obscured, so that's just what I'm going to go with. 12 dice on 6s to hit. And there is 1 hit in there, so let's re-roll that, see what happens. That's a kill. That takes out 1 Romanian. Right, we're on to the BA-10s. Both of these are firing. This one's moved forward a dice, so he's going to be firing 2 shots. This one's going to be firing all 3 shots, and they're just going to pile it into this Romanian section here, so that's automatically going to pin them. The first one's got 3 shots. Again, I'm just going to... so if it's basically a 1 or a 2 is a miss, anything else is 1 hit. So let's just do them all together because that's all he is doing. So they've taken 2 hits first of all. I'll calculate these in a second. And then the chap behind, same again. 2 6s, so that's 2 more hits. So that's 4 hits on that Romanian section. Let's see what happens to them. 4 is 1 shock, 1, 2, 2, 1. So just 1 shock. Okay, so we've got the Allied Company HQ. The big man that is part of that has put in for fire support, so that card had gone into the deck for the Allies. That will be ranged in with the next time it pulls. Then they've moved forward one of their medium machine guns. Just shove those trees to one side. If you can see them. So this one's moved forward to the edge of this wood. The other one has been here for a while, so this is now going to fire over at this Romanian section over here. So we're looking at, because of the range and it's only an okay shot, we're looking at 6s to hit and then 4 or above to hit again. So we're looking for 6s in this first one. It's using all of its actions. So what have we got? We've got 1 6. That's not great. So let's re-roll that, and he needs a 4, 5 or a 6 to cause 1 hit. Let's get those dice out of the way. 4, 5 or 6 to hit. That's a 2. So no, that's a miss. Right, so we've got some firing doing over here. Just pull the T-brake. The only troops that haven't actually activated in this turn are these two here, these two Soviet ones. So they're going to fire at this. Here they're going to fire at them because they're within 9 inches, and they're going to fire at them because they're within 9 inches. These have got 3 full actions, so they're going to be rolling 18 dice. However, they're going to take 1 off because they've got 1 shock, so they're down to 17 dice. And this is an okay shot, firing out of the woods up onto the hill there, because it's just at the top of that hill. So it's a 5 or a 6 to hit. So let's have a look at that. We've got, get rid of all our misses. Pull all those out. It's quite a good number of hits there. That's 7 hits in total. And let's see what happens. They've also got a junior leader up here as well, so he may be one of the ones that's hit. So let's just, well, 7, you can't roll less than 6, can't roll more than 6 on a d6, so he is one of the ones hit. So we'll roll for him in a second. So let's do the 6 rifleman, or the other 6 hits at least. So we've got 2 kills and 2 shock. Slightly forgot, we do things slightly differently with casualties on leaders with I ain't been shot mum. So what we do is we roll that 7th dice to see what happens. So that's a 1, so that's nothing. So we're still on 2 kills and 2 shock. The big man has to roll a d10. If he rolls a 1 or a 2, he is one of the ones that is killed. 5, no he's not. And then we've got the other section over here firing. And now they're down to 6 men, so they're actually only rolling, they've only got 2 actions, so they're only rolling 12 dice. But we're same again, 5s and 6s are hits. Or actually, it may be a bit better. I think that's a great shot, to be honest. They're up in the open, they're really obvious. So I'm going to go with that being a great shot. So we need 3 or above to hit this time. Oh, and also, one other thing I forgot, that's pin those because they've had 2 hits on them. So we've got our other section. Now again, if they take over 1 hit or above, they are pinned. If they take 3 or more hits, they are suppressed. So let's have a look. So we said 3, 4, 5s and 6s. That's on a 4. It wasn't cocked really, so let's just get rid of everything that hasn't hit. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits. So that is a suppression on those, first of all, and then we re-roll to see what happens to those 8 hits. So let's have a look. We've got 2 kills and 4 shock this time. So they're down to 7 men, so I think that's giving them only 2 actions now. Well, that was a really busy turn. I don't think there was a unit that hardly moved there. So we've got Romanians are pushing forward. They're taking some shock and casualties that they are doing, but they are also giving it back to the Soviets as well as they're pushing forward here on their right flank. Over here on the left, the Stugs have finally woken up, taken out the T-35, damaged the other one, but we still have a full section over here, a full platoon, sorry, of the Soviets sitting there. And these were unable to move because they pulled the hesitant card, so they couldn't actually do anything. So these are still stuck on this jump off line. So we'll see what happens with the next turn after this tea break and move on. Right, we've got the Allied armour, well the BA-10s firing, so these are both going to fire again at these Romanians here. Both of them firing their high X. So we're rolling. This is actually now an okay shot because they're both stood still. The Romanians are only in light cover, so I'm going to give them an okay shot. So ones are misses, but I'm going to roll all 3 shots for both of them. So for the first one, the front one, one is a miss anyway, so that's off. And then we look down the chart. First one has rolled a 2 and then a 4, so that's actually 3 hits on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these hits together rather than doing it separately and just get these done. So same again for the guy at the back. Another okay shot. So ones are misses, so that's gone. So this time we got a 6, a 4 and a 6. A 6 gives us 3 hits and the 4 gives us 2 hits. So that, with my maths, is another 5 hits. So that's actually 8 hits on those Romanians. So again they're pinned. I forgot to take the pin off them actually from the tea break. But we'll give them the 8 hits as well. 2, 4, 6, 8 hits. So 1s and 2s are nothing. 2 shock and 1 kill. So now we've got the Axis platoon headquarters, of which one of these is a tank killer, so that's going to fire at the front BA. He needs a 9 or above to hit. He's going to fire 3 times, so let's have a look. First one, that's 1 hit. I'm going to keep a tally of these. He's firing all 3 of his shots at that tank. Second one is a miss, and the third one is another hit. So that's 2 hits on that BA. The strike dice for the AT gun is a 3. The BA has an armour of 2. So 2 hits on it. So the first one, first strike is 1 hit. Defending against no defence, so that's 1 net hit. So let's see what happens. So 5, that's a turret hit. So -1 hits, roll. And then the second hit, same again, 3 strike, so 5s and 6s, so that's 1, and a defence of 2, 5s and 6s, that's equal numbers, so let's just see what happens here. A 1, the AFV takes 1 point of shock and may not advance towards the enemy. So we're firing with the MGs from the Allied company. They're firing again at these poor beleaguered Romanians here. They need, it's an okay shot at over 18 inch, so they're needing 6s to hit. Let's have a look, not a single one, all misses. And then we're back with the Soviet T-35. It's taking shots at that Stug again. So we're looking at we need 6s or above because it's partially obscured. He's firing all 3 shots at it, so let's just see what happens. The first one is a 5, is a miss. Second one, 5 is a miss. The third one is 4, that's another miss. Brilliant, they're doing really well, these T-35s. So we've got the German armour, they're the Stugs. So the first one, the other 2, these 2 have just moved forward. I've just moved them, but first of all, the one at the back was going to fire anyway. These were going to move forward anyway, so this guy was going to fire all 3 shots at the T-35. Partially obscured, needs a 6 above to hit, and he needs 3 shots. So the first one is 1 hit. So I'm just going to keep a count of these so I know how many hits it's taken. His second shot is a 7, so that's another hit. And then its third shot is an 8, is another hit. This is all it was doing this turn anyway. So we now have 3 hits against that T-35. It's got an armour of 3. The Stug strike is an 8. So 8 against 3 dice. And that's happening 3 times. So the first one, I should now go down to 2 so I remember. So we're looking at 5s and 6s to hit. So that is 2 hits from the Stug first of all. So you've got 2 net hits. And the armour is a 3. So that saves 2 of them. So that's equal hits. So let's just see what happens. A 4 is the AFV must halt and engage the fire in a firefight on its next activation. And nothing else. So the second hit is again 8 dice, 5s and 6s. So we've got 1, That's 4 hits this time, so this T-35 has got to save all of the, well, at least 2 of those to still be in the fight perhaps. Let's have a look. So it saved 1, so that's 3 net hits. So that has actually destroyed the tank. I'm not going to do a test for the crew, because I'm just going to say the crew gets out and run off. They're not going to play a part in this game, but that has taken that T-35 out. So now we've got 2 Stugs that have moved, and they're going to fire. Well, one of them can't actually fire because there's too much happening, but this guy is going to fire down here at these infantry with his single shot. He's got 2d6. He's just firing normal HE, so that will automatically pin that section. Any ones and it's a miss. That's actually 9 dice on the hit table. We're going to say that's, let's say it's an okay shot, so that's 4 hits and a pin. They're already pinned anyway. Let's just see what happens to them. Oh, so that's 2 kills, 2 shock. Right, I've just got the T-break card out. So all that can happen now is units that are within 9 inches of each other can fire. I haven't activated. The only ones are these 4. So there's 2 Romanian ones, 2 Soviet ones here. They're firing at exactly the same time, so the dice are just going to be the same. So I'll just work my way through them all. The first Soviet one here, they've only got 2 actions because they're down to 6 men. But they're firing at them. They need a 3 or above because it's a good shot. So it's a great shot. 1 hit will pin them. They're already pinned anyway. 3 or above will suppress them. Let's just see what happens with that. We have 3 or above. Let's get rid of all misses. 1, 2. Okay, so that's mostly hits. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hits on these ones. So let's just roll those dice. 5 6s are kills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kills with 2 shock. Right, so let me just let's just work this out. So 2 shock there, and then we said 5 kills. So that's 3, 4, 5 kills. They are also suppressed. I think they may be broken, but we'll just check that in a second. Yeah, they're broken as well. We'll do their fire back. They are firing back with 2 actions, I believe. Yeah, they're returning fire with 2 actions, minus 2 dice. So it's only going to be 10 dice. And they're firing at an okay shot. So they need 5 plus to hit. So let's see. So get rid of everything that isn't a hit. Well, that's not a bad score back actually. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. Better than we expected. So with that, that means that those Soviets are also already suppressed. So let's see. So, but that's 1 kill and 4 shock. So they've already got 5 shocks. So that takes them up to 5 shock, should I say? And then we said 1 kill. So 1 more kill on there, and that will remove one of their bases. And so let's just put this up. So they're now on 6. We'll work out the break in a second. Because it's a T break, they go from suppressed automatically down to pinned anyway. Oh, because they were pinned, they should have taken some more hits, but some more off their dice. But we'll just leave it for now. Don't worry. We always get things wrong in this game. Don't worry about that. So now we've got the Romanians up here. They've got 6, 7, 8 men, so they can fire all of their 18 dice. And they're firing at an okay shot again, so they need 5s and 6s to hit. They have 2 shock, so that reduces them down by 1 dice. So we're looking at 5s and 6s, so again we'll get rid of all the misses. That's quite a number for them actually. So yeah, that's 2, 4, 6, 7 hits. Same again, re-roll these. And what have we got? We've got no kills and only 2 shock. So actually not not particularly good after all. And so they're now 4 shock. The Soviets are firing back with 17 dice because they have 1 down. And I'm going to give them an okay shot again because the Romanians are up on that hill and just over that peak. So 17 dice because -1 of their shock. So we're looking at 5s and 6s on this. So that's 3 hits this time. That was very poor. And let's see how many kills we get. 2 kills. Let's see if one of them is their big man. A 1 or a 2, and it is. No, it's not. So it's 2 of the infantry. So they're off as well. Well, let's see where we're at with that tea break. So we've got the Stugs are moving forward. They've taken out both of the T-35s and also started laying fire on the Soviet infantry over here. The infantry platoon, the Romanians have started moving forward, so they're going to be into a position to hopefully attack and shift that Soviet unit over there. Over here it's not looking so good. The attack has kind of stalled a little bit. This section and this section in particular have taken huge casualties, and they're really struggling to shift these BA-10s as well, which are also laying down fire here. But they do have the R2s that have moved forward, and they are starting to cause a few more casualties on some of these Soviets here, but they're up against 2 platoons over here, plus the armour as well. We'll just have to see what happens and keep pushing away at them. Right, so the Allied platoon number 1 has been pulled. So it's these ones here and these ones here. They're both firing at the Romanian platoon section that's in front of them. They need 6s to hit for this because it's an okay shot, because it's pretty obscured, but they can at least see them. So we're just going to roll for that. So the first one is using all 3 actions. So 6s to hit. That's 1 hit. So let's roll that, see what happens. That's a kill. So that's 1 individual off. And then we have the other section doing exactly the same, so 6s to hit as well. Much better this time. So let's get rid of our misses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits in total that time. So let's see, we've got same again, 5, 6 are kills, 3, 4 is shock. So we have 4 shock and another kill. Okay, so we've got the Stugs moving. The first one is going to basically come through these woods here. He's got 1 shot left, and he's going to fire that down at this section. This one is firing again at this section as it did before, but with all 3 dice. So we'll start with the one that's come through the woods. Rolling 2d6. 1 is a miss, so he's missed anyway. The other one, he's rolling 3 times 2d6. So the first one, any 1s are a miss, but the first one is 11 on the hits, and I'm going to give this an OK rating. So they're automatically pinned anyway because they're under fire. So that's actually 5 hits on them. That was our first roll, so just make a note of that. So we got 5 hits on this section. So that's another kill and another shock. So that takes them up to 3 shock and another killed. This is exactly what the Stugs should be doing, really, is operating as mobile artillery. So that's another kill there. So then its second shot is going to be a 6, but a 1. It means it's missed, and its final shot is an 8. So an 8 with an OK, so that's 4 hits this time. So we'll roll again, see what happens. And that is 3 kills and another shock. So let's put that shock on. So that's taking them up to 4 shock and 3 more kills. So that means we have 1 kill hangs over to there. Let me just work this out. So we've got 3 kills, so that's 1, 2, 3. So they have lost their bottle because they have double the amount of shock to units in there, so they will fall back 2d6 for any excess shock, so they will fall back 4 inches. Sorry, not d6. They will fall back 4 inches, so that takes them to about there, to about this wood here. Meanwhile, over here we have the other Stug has come forward. He's just moved slightly and he's firing at this BA10. So it needs a 5 in the open. However, it's moved, and I'm going to say that is obscured. So we're talking a 7 or above, and he's only got one shot because he's used 2 actions to move forward. So 7 or above, that is a hit. The Stug has got 8 strike dice. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 against an armour of 2. So let's just see what happens here. 5s and 6s, not a single one. However, we still got to roll the BA just to see if anything happens. If he doesn't save any. 5s and 6s are saves. No, it doesn't save any, so it's equal amounts of hits. And that is... Oh, let's have a look. Sorry, we're rolling just 1 dice. A 3. The AFE must halt and engage the fire in a firefight in its next activation. So it's switching targets. So it's the Axis big man number 2. He's reduced shock. He's over here, and he's getting the remainder of this section to fire down at the Soviets down here. So then he's 5s and 6s because it's an okay shot because they're in cover. Let's have a look, but they've only got 2 actions, so it's 12 dice. So we'll take out all the 5s and 6s, and that's all 2 of them. So we'll re-roll those, see what they get. And 6 is a kill and 4 is shock. So they're now 5 shock. They're doing okay at the moment. Right, so the Axis Big Man 4 has been activated, which is the R2 commander, and he's basically commanded these 3, his tank and these 2 tanks as well to do their thing. So these are firing at the Russians. These 2 are going to fire at this section, this is going to fire at this section here. So they're only rolling 1 dice. A 1 is a miss, otherwise it's an okay shot. A 2 on an okay shot is 1 hit on these. So let's see what happens to them. 5, that's another kill. So that takes them up to 3 kills now. It's only moved 1 actually, so yeah, it can fire again. So his second shot is a 4. This time it's 2 hits. Let's see what happens with those. So that is a shock and nothing, so that takes them up to 6 shock. They are currently on 5 infantry, so they are now pinned, but they've not lost their bottle yet. This one moved, he moved once, so he can fire twice at this unit again. So let's do both of those. So we've got a 2 and a 4. A 2 is a 1 and a 4 is 2, so that's 3 hits on this section here. And that is 1 kill and nothing else, so that's 4 of them off. There's actually their junior leader is in there, so let's just see if he's the one that is hit and killed. Let's see, a 1 and he is. Yes, he is, so he is off. That is back. We're still with the 3 kills on it. But then we've got the other tank that's firing 3 shots this time. So any 1s are misses, so we've got 5, 4 and a 3. So 3 causes 1 hit, 4 causes 2 and a 5 causes 2. So that's 5 hits in total. So let's see what that does. So that's 1 kill and 2 shock. So that base is off. And 2 shock on top of that as well. And they are also pinned as well. Let's remember that. So they have equal shock. They still haven't lost their bottle then, just yet. So it's the Axis HQ Company 1, but they've got hesitant troops, so that affects them because that's the next infantry unit. So they can't move, but the tank killer unit over there can fire, and they've also got the 30mm mortar as well, which can also fire. So I'll do the 30mm mortar first of all. It's just going to fire over here. 5s and 6s will cause shock. No shock, nothing. So the rifle, AT rifle is firing, so it needs a 9 or above to hit. It's firing all 3 shots at this front BA10, so let's do that. So first one is a miss. Second one is 1 hit. Third one, I'm just going to do all the hits, is a miss. So it's 1 hit, 3 strike dice, that's 2 hits. It has an armour of 2. and neither of those are saved. So that means 2 net hits. It is 3 serious engine damage, 2 pips off per dice of movement from now on. Okay, so just pull the T-brake card. There's only one Soviet unit that can fire. It's these down here. They've got 6. They are pinned. They've got 6 shock, so that's -3 dice. They've only got 2 actions because they've only got 6 men left. So they are, because they're pinned, they go up to the next range, which is effective. So they need 6s to hit. 3 hits will with pin, 4 hits will suppress. So let's just have a look. 6s to hit, 1 hit. So let's just quickly roll that. That's 1 shock on that Romanian unit there. Okay, the end of that T-break. Most of the action has taken place on the Romanians' right flank over here, really. The Soviets are starting to actually take a lot of casualties. So they one section here is really badly battered. This one is halfway down, but so have the Romanians. One has collapsed and lost its bottle. It's moved back. But over here, they've almost destroyed a section with the Stugs, and they've got the Stugs now clear to actually start attacking the infantry and finishing off these armoured cars. Fingers crossed. And they've also still got a relatively fresh section over here, so it could still go any way, but I think the balance is slightly tipping towards the Romanians. But so this first turn, it's the Allied Platoon 1, which is these guys. The unit that has got 6 shock has lost its bottle and it's fallen back. We've got these ones here on the edge of the cornfield. They're going to fire at the Romanians on the top of the hill. They've only got 2 actions. Sorry, they've only got 1 action because they've only got 4 men left. They're firing with 1 action, so that's 6 dice, but -2 because of the shock. So we take that off, and we're looking at 6s to hit. Sorry, 5s and 6s to hit in this case. So that's 1 hit. So let's see what that does. That is a kill. Let's just see if that's on their junior leader, on their leader there. 10. No, it's not. So that's another kill on that section there. They're still okay. They've only got 2 shock. And the Allies' Big Man 6 is the commander of the BA-10s. He's going to get both of these to fire at that Stug over there. That's the plan. They've got 3 shots each. They need a 5, but he's obscured, so I'm going to take that up to a 6 or above to hit. The first one is actually -1 on that, so that's a 7 or above. So we'll do his. They're firing all their shots at them. So the first one, we need 7s. So that's 1 hit. Let's just take an account of this. Second shot is another hit, and his third shot is another hit. So that's 3 hits on the Stug. They have a strike dice of 5. The Stug has a armour of, I think it's 8. Yes, the armour of 8. Sorry, no, it's not 8. It's an armour of 6. So the strike is 1 hit. So with that armour of 6, and we've got 3 hits here, remember. So that's a equal amount of hits, because that was 1 save. So we roll again, we get a 1. The AFE takes 1 shock and may not activate. Advance towards the enemy on the next activation. So our next hit, second hit, is 5 strike. So that's 5s and 6s. So that's 1. Stug again defending on 6 armour. That's 3. So that bounces off. The next one, 5 strike again. This is the last one from this first shot. That's 2 hits. So this time the Stug needs to save against those. So it saved 1. So that is 1 net hit. Let's see what it does. A 5 on 1 net hit is no effect. Okay, so we've got the second tank at the back. That is firing. That is also that's a 6 as well to hit. So first shot, 5 is miss. Second shot, 8 is 1 hit, and 2 1s. So 1 hit, same again. Strike of 5. Ooh, that's 4 hits. and the Stug has a save of 6 dice. And it saves 1, so that's 3 net hits. That's destroyed the tank. I'm not going to test for the crew again, but that's taken that tank out. Oh, the Stug. Oh dear, that's not good. That was a very quick turn. T-brake has just been pulled, so all we've got so far is the Stug got brewed up, and very little else. There was a little bit of fighting on this this side over here with the Romanians, but on to the next turn. Right, first up we've got the Soviet big man at number 3. This is this guy over here. He's using his command initiative to get these 2 units to fire. So the first one benefits from his extra 2 dice in there. They need a 6 to hit. 3 hits or above will be a pin. 4 hits or above will be a suppression. So let's just have a look. So we're looking at 6s to hit. So we'll get rid of everything that isn't a hit, which is most of them, I think. Let's have a look. 5 hits. This is just from the first one. So 5 hits means that they are actually suppressed as well anyway. So we'll get that in there. And then roll for the casualties. What have we got? We got a 2 shock and a kill. So 2 shock, that takes that up to 6 shock. They don't have a leader in there, so it's just 1 extra kill. So then we've got the second firers, so that's 6, 12, 18 dice. He's doing the same, just move that out there so you can see. And same again, 6s to hit. I'm only calling these OK shots because they're firing through 2 hedges and it's very obscured. So we've got 2 hits in there. So not brilliant, but whittling away. Let's see what happens with that. So we have another shock, so that takes them up to 7. And they actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 men in there. So any more shock and they will lose their bottle. Right, we're back to the BAs. So these 2 are going to fire at the R2s over here. So the first one, he gets -1 because he's got a shock. He also gets -1 because of his damaged gun sight. So that is going to take him down -2. Starting on 5, we're firing at this one here. So he needs a 7 or above to hit. He's firing all 3 of his shots, that's it. So let's just see how many we get. First one is a 5, it's a miss. Second one, that's a hit. Let's make a note. And then he's going to fire. Well, let's see what happens. Let's work our way through. So strike dice of 5. He needs 5s and 6s to do anything, so that's those. The R2 has a armour of 3. And it saves none of those, so that's 2 net hits on the R2. We roll again, see what we get. A 6 is turret hit, -1 on subsequent rolls due to damage to the gun sights. I'll put gun sight damage down. And so that was his second shot, so he's got 1 more shot. So we'll do that. So same again, 6 this time because he's firing at the same target that he's already hit. So that's another hit. Strike dice of 5. So that's 2 hits. They have an armour save of 3. And they've saved 2 of them. So that's equal saves. Let's just see what it does to it. A 1 is it takes a point of shock. Also, it should have taken a point of shock for the previous hit. So that's 2 shock on that R2. It also loses an activation on its next turn. And then we have the other BA, which is firing out the other R2 over here. So this one, again, is going to fire as many shots as he can at it. So let's just see. We've got a, it needs a 6 to hit. Do we say? No, it just needs a 5 to hit because he hasn't moved and it's in the open. So first shot, That's a hit. So let's do the strike on that. So that is 2 6s. Their defence of 3 dice is 1 6, so that's 1 net hit. So that is a shock, and it's temporarily immobilised. So there's no movement on its next activation. Its next shot, so that's now he's on to 2 shots. This is the second shot. So same again. 5 becomes a 4 because it's already hit it. That is a hit. So same again. Strike dice is 1 hit. So their defence is, so that's equal hits. So we roll again, see what happens. A 1, it takes another point of shock, spranging off here, and then we have its final shot. Same again, 4 or above. 4, so it's just a hit. So let's see, 1 6. Their defence, no defence. So again, that's 1 net hit. So that's another point of shock, and a 2, it's temporarily immobilised, no movement on the next activation, so already got that. But that is 3 shock. Right, it's reached 3 shock, which is enough for the crew, well, for it to withdraw, but because it is immobilised temporarily, the crew actually abandon the tank. So that tank is out of the game. The Romanians have just pulled their Axis support card. They had it before. They've rolled, and this is the second time they've called for support, fire support. So they rolled for a 5 or a 6. They rolled a 5. They go ahead and do it off camera. It has arrived. We now need to see if it deviates or if it hits. So we roll a deviation dice. This has got arrows on it and also 2 hit points as well. So we'll roll that and we'll see if it is on target or not. That's a hit. That has struck exactly where they wanted it to hit. So that means it covers 7 inches of their burst. So basically everything around, including that BA-10 at the back as well there. They have a kill radius of 7 inches because they've got mortars. There's 4 mortars, each one rolling 1d6. We roll on each of these on the fire table, and I'm going to do this on the fire table itself, not in the bucket of dice. First of all, let's do the BA-10. We'll roll that. It's a 3. That is no effect on that tank, but then we've got to roll for each of these infantry here. And I'm going to say these are in the open, so it's great. This is a great hit on these. So the first one here is a hit of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's 6 hits, and they're pinned. So I'll put a pin marker down first of all and just put a 6 next to it so we remember they are hits. Then the next one, this one takes 7, 10, 12, so that is 5 hits and a pin. We'll go through these hits in a second. And then the final one is 11, 12, 13, 17. That is 7 hits. So let's just again put that down. And there is also junior leader as well there. 7 hits, and they are suppressed. So even worse. So now let's just work our way through. Roll for the actual effects on each of these. They're not in cover. So the first one is 5 dice. We have 1 kill and 3 shock. So there's our 3 shock and the 1 kill. The next one has 6 hits on it. So we have, oh god, that's worse, that's 3 kills and just 1 shock. So 3 kills on them. And then we have the final one, 2, 4, 6, This one's 7 hits. And we have 2 kills and 2 shock. We also have a junior leader in there, or a leader should I say. So we'll roll our d10 and see if he is hit. On a 1 or a 2 he is. No, he's not, so that's 2 of the infantry there. 2 of them are killed and 2 shock as well. So not a bad hit now. Okay, we're firing now with the Romanian R2s, or the remaining 2. The first one here only has 2 actions, so and 2 shock, and also a damaged gun sight. So he's firing with a -3, only twice, and he's firing at the front one. So with a -3, he needs an 8 or above. So his first shot is an 8, so that's 1 hit. So the strike dice of the Romanians are 4 R2s, is actually 5 against the armour of the BAs, which is only 2. So maybe they might take something out. So this is his first shot. Not a single hit. Let's see if there are. They saved 1, so that's okay. So his second shot, 8 or above, becomes a 7 or above because he's firing at the same target he's already hit. So that's another hit. So let's try that. 5 strike dice, so that is 2 hits. Defending on 2 dice, it's defended neither of them, so that's 2 net hits on that BA. So we'll see what happens with this one. 5. Main gun is out of action for the remainder of this game. So we replace that token, so that has now become a toothless dragon. We have our other BA over here that has moved, so it only has 2 actions for firing, so let's take that off anyway. We now know that that has used up his 2 actions. So this one now has moved, so he starts on a 5, goes to a 6 because he moved. So that's all it is. It's an 8 shot, so it comes back down to a 5, but he's missed anyway. His second shot is a snapshot, so that is going to be a 5 to hit. That is a hit, so same again, strike dice of 5. That's 2 net hits. They're defending on 2 dice, and both of those are saves. So that's 0 net hits. Let's just see, we roll there. A 6 is no effect. Okay, so we've got the Axis Big Man 3, which is the company commander. He's over there. He's commanding the 2 tank killer units to fire at the BA-10 again, and also then get this unit here to fire at this Soviet unit over here. So we'll start with the tank killers. So the first one, got 3 shots, rolling 3 times, needs 9s or above. So his first shot is an 8, so that's a miss. Second shot is an 8, so that's a miss. Third shot is a 10, so that's 1 hit. That has a strike of 3, so that's 1 hit, 1 net hit. They have a defence of 2, so that's cancels it out, but it is a net 0 hit, so that becomes a 2. 2 is, it takes 1 point of shock and may not advance on the enemy the next turn, so they could reduce it by shock, but that was his second shot. So his third shot, again a 9, so that's another hit. So we're rolling 3 dice for the strike, no hits. Got to roll for the defence anyway. That's nothing, so that's another 0 net hit. So we roll again for that. A 1 is another point of shock. So that is abandoned because there's only 3 crew in there, so that's out. So it's taken that one down, and then we will fire with the second tank killing team at the other BA. So this one is going to need 9s again, so first shot, miss. His second shot is a miss. His third shot is a miss. Okay, so we'll come back over to the Romanians here. These are fully up to their strength. They've only got 1 shock. They're quite happy to fire all 3 of their action dice at the battery over there. We're going to call that a, I think at this point, this is between 9 and 18. I'm going to say it's an okay shot, so he needs 6s to hit. 3 or more hits will cause pin, 4 or more hits will cause suppression. So we've got 6s to hit, we said. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's them suppressed in the first instance. And then we re-roll those dice for our effect. And that is 1 kill and nothing else. However, they lose their bottle, so they will fall back 2 inches. So they fall back to here, taking their kills and their shock and their suppression with them. So now it's the company headquarters of the Allies, and he's firing. He's getting the 2 MMGs to fire at this section over here. They need 6s because he's an okay shot. 3 hits will be a pin. 4 hits will be a suppression. So we're looking for 6s. So that's 2 hits. That's from the first gun. So let's see what they do. That's a 6. That's a kill. And then the second one is going to be the same. 6s to hit as well. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 hits this time. That's a bit better. And the damage that does is 2 shock. So they now have 5 shock, but they've got 5 men in there. 1 more kill or 1 more shock and they will break. And now we've got the Allied platoon under fire here, under this heavy fire. So the first ones are firing. They're firing at the Romanians in front of them, these ones here. They need 6s and then a 4+ straight after to hit. If they hit 4, then they pin them. If they hit 5, they suppress them. So let's just see what we get. So we need 6s first of all, so we'll pick these out. 1, 2, 3. So they re-roll these into a 4. These have only got 2 actions, so they're only rolling 12 dice. And they need 4+, so that's 2 hits. So that doesn't pin them, but let's just see what it does otherwise. 2 3s is 2 more shock. So that actually breaks that unit. So they're now on 7 shock against their 5 men, so they fall back 4 inches. Let's just quickly measure that. So they're out of the firing line now. So these are now somewhere back here. Taking that dead with them. And then the other section then is now going to fire at the section in front of them there. These are firing 18 dice instead. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And these are the same 6s with a 4+ after that because they are pinned as well. Sorry, they take 1 off for their shock. So again, pull all the 6s out. 1, 2, 3 this time, and then they re-roll these. 4, 5, 6 is a hit. So that's 3 hits. It's pretty good going actually. And we re-roll those, and they are just 1 shock. Okay, so it's the Axis Big Man 1. He's reduced their shock, and then he's getting them to fire at this section over here again. So this is an okay shot at 9 to 18 inches, so he needs a 6 to hit. Let's see what we get. We've got 2 hits. That doesn't cause any pins or shock. Let's see what the hits themselves do. That's 1 kill and 1 nothing. So that is, they are forced back again. So they're now taking 2 kills there, and they're suppressed anyway. So that means they now fall back another 4 inches. I keep hammering at them at least, so they're falling back. Now it's the turn of the Stugs. So this one has stopped, and he's just going to fire down here, fire onto them, and the other one has moved forward, and that is also going to fire down, or maybe fire it down. We'll see what this one does first. He's got 3 shots. Ones are misses, otherwise they're hitting on an okay shot, I would say, because they're behind cover. So that first one is missed. His second shot is an 8, so that's 4 hits. Let's see how many, what that does. So that's 3 ones, does nothing, and 1 kill. So let's get that on there. Actually, they've also got their junior leader as well attached to that unit, so let's just see if he's the one that's killed. No, he's not. And his third shot is a 4, so that's 2 hits. Let's see what that does. So that's 2 kills. So this is now starting to bite. And then we have the other Stug that is going to continue firing at this section. So his first shot, that's a miss. His second shot is a 7. That's 3 hits. And that is another kill and 2 shock. Okay, so we just hit another tea break. The Stugs over here are pushing forwards now and are starting to actually cut into this infantry section here. I don't know how long this platoon is going to last. They're pretty much out on their own. The 2 T-35s are all destroyed. There's still 30 odd Romanians over here ready to attack them. Meanwhile over here we have a unit under a barrage from mortars, which has absolutely smashed them up. They were in pretty good state until that hit them. We've also got this unit here, the Soviets retreating. This unit here has retreated. These ones have moved forward into the forests, at least to take up new positions. Romanians over here, we've got an abandoned tank. We've got one functioning tank and one semi-functioning tank. And then we've also got a couple of battered sections over here. On this side we've got another battered section and another one that's still in relatively good shape. However, we've lost a Stug. They have lost their front BA-10 and the other one is still operating okay. So it's still a tough one to call this at this point. It could go either way. Let's continue playing. So we got the Allied Platoon 3, which is these guys here. These ones are pretty battered at this point, to be honest. They're getting fire from the Stugs, but they're going to try to destroy the Romanian section up at the back there. So the first one is firing with its full 18 dice because it's using all of them. We need 6s to hit. It's an okay shot at 9 to 18 inches. So 3 hits will be a pin, 4 hits will be a suppression. They're already pinned anyway, but let's just see what we get. We're looking for 6s here, so we've got 1, 2, so that's not great. So let's just re-roll those and see what happens. They have taken a couple of casualties over there already. They've already got 2 casualties, 3 casualties in fact. So let's just see what we got. A 3 and a 1, so that is another shock. I think that might force them back. We'll check in a second. Well, let's just put that shock up there. Actually, we've got 8, and they actually have they've got 7 men in there, so they are forced back. So they'll be pushed back 2 inches, which is round about there somewhere, and take them with them on their casualties and their pin status. And then the second team here is firing with only 5 dice because it's got 2 shock and it's only got 1 action. So 5 dice, 6s to hit, same again. No hits. So not a great performance there for the Soviets. And we're back with the Romanian R2s. Both of them are going to be firing at this BA-10, or until it gets destroyed if they can. This guy is firing with a 5. 5 are above to hit his first shot, and then he is going to be firing with an 8 or above to hit with his shots. They both got 3 shots, so we'll start with the 5. So that is 1 hit straight away. We have a strike of, I think it's 5 for the R2s. Yes, it's 5 against an armour of 2 for the BA-10. So strikes, that's 2 hits. So the defense dice is neither have survived, so that's 2 net hits. And 2 net hits on a tank. It takes 2 points of shock and loses 2 activations. 1 vehicle permanently mobilised for the remainder of this game. So that's pretty much out. It's taken 2 points of shock and is immobilised. And its next shot, the crew haven't abandoned it. If it takes 1 more shock, the crew will abandon. But let's have a look, because he's now immobilised. So that's a 4. He does get a +1 because he's already hit it, so that is another hit. So that's 5 on the strike dice again. No single hit, not a single hit, so the defense dice, it's saved both of those. His third and final shot is another 4, so again it has hit it. So we're rolling again. 1 strike. Let's see what the defence is. 2 defence, so that hasn't done anything. We do have the other tank over here, which is also going to be firing, where this is firing at 8+. So for the first one, that's a miss. Second shot is an 8, so that is a hit. Didn't think this one was going to hit, but let's see. That is 2 strikes. So the defending BA-10 has 1 net hit, so it's taken a point of shock and loses another activation. So that has been abandoned actually. Let's just see what happens. 5 is a turret is hit, so there's a subsequent -1. But that has been abandoned because he has taken 3 shock, so that's enough to abandon an immobilised vehicle. So the R2s did okay in the end. Right, well that was a very quick turn. Just pull the T-brake, so all it is the people who are within 9 inches of each other can fire, which is only these Romanians here on the hill and the Soviets here in the woods. So we'll do the Soviets. They're firing with their full 3 rounds, so that's 18 dice. 5s to hit. That's what we're looking for. So let's get the hits out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. There is a junior leader in there, sorry, a squad leader in there as well. So let's see if he is one of the ones that's killed, if anybody is killed. So we've got 2 kills and 2 shock. So let's put that shock on, so that takes them up to 3. And then 2 kills, so we'll roll the d10, see if the leader is one of them. 7, no he's not, so it's 2 of the others. So they're off. They're firing back. They only had 1 shock when they fired back, but they've only got 1 action, so they're only using 6 dice. With 2 hits on an OK shot as well, they're also pinned. I do always forget to do that, so they're pinned as well. But firing back, it's an OK shot because they're firing into the edge of the woods, so 5s and 6s. So that's 2 hits on the Soviets, see what happens with them. So 1 kill and 1 nothing. So the Soviets came out better there. They have 3 shock. They've got 4 men in that section, so they're okay on the shock at this point. Almost forgot, the Stugs are also in range as well. They're in 9 inches of these 2 sections here. This one's only got 2 men left in it. This one has only 4 men and a leader in there. So they're just going to rain fire down on the opposition there. I'm going to say it's an okay shot because they're behind cover and they're firing from woods and things. So we do what we normally do, roll through d6. 1s are misses, so we'll start with this one, 3 shots. He's firing at this section here, so that's a 6 and a 1, so that's a miss. His second shot, 4 and a 1, so that's another miss. And his final shot, he actually hits on a 9, so that is 4 hits and a pin. They are pinned anyway because they're under high explosive fire, but that will come off straight away. But let's just see. So we've got 4 hits, and again there is a leader in there, a big man. So we have 2 kills, 2 shock. So they've already got 2 shock anyway, so that takes them up to 4. So now they are, with those 2 kills, they are going to be over their shock, so they will be falling back. And let's see if their big man is the one or a 2 he's hit. No, so it's two of the rifles. So that's them hit. They will then fall back. They have an excess of 2 shock. Well, 1 shock actually, so that's 2 inches back. So they'll fall back to there. Now they are in the open, so the second Stug is going to be firing at them, but it's actually going to be firing at a great rating, I think, on this one, simply because they're now in the open. So same again, 1's our misses. He's going to be firing 3. First one is 11 hits, so that's 5 hits and a pin. They're already pinned, so let's just roll for those 5 hits. There's only 2 riflemen and the leader in there, so 3 kills is going to be, well, that's 3 kills. That has wiped that section out completely. And let's get rid of all that. So this Stug still has 2 rounds of firing left, so it is going to turn its attention to these ones here. Now these are going to be an okay shot because they're in the woods. So his second shot, that's a miss because of the 1, and his third and final shot is an 8 on an okay shot, so that's 4 hits in there. There's only 2 rifles in there actually, so this could wipe out this team as well. So let's have a look. No, it hasn't, but it's caused them 3 more shock. They've already got 4, so that takes them up to 7. So that means that they actually retreat 10 inches. They're retreating 2 inches for each, for every excess shock that they have, and there's only 2 men in there, so the excess shock is 5 times 2. My maths were right, 10 inches back. So the Stugs have pretty much destroyed that platoon on their own. Let's just move those back. Yeah, they've all the way back there, and they, unfortunately, because they've now lost their big man, they're not going to be able to recover that. Well, that was a very short term, but quite a lot actually happened in it. So we've had the BAs have finally been knocked out, well, abandoned. Over here, the Stugs destroyed pretty much most of this Soviet platoon here. There's only really 1 section left over there, facing against 30 odd Romanians. The other section was destroyed, and this one was forced back after it lost its bottle. So I don't know if it's really, I think it might be slightly swinging towards the Romanians at this point. It's been a bit of a tough one, this one. They've still got a pretty fresh platoon over there, and little bits and pieces on their other flank as well with these 2 tanks. Don't think the Soviet defence is going to last particularly long, but let's see what happens with this next turn. It's the Romanian commander's turn to fire. He is going to get the 30mm mortar to fire, and then also this section as well. They're going to be firing at this rifle section here of the Soviets. So we'll do the mortar first of all. It only causes shock, so he's going to fire at that. He's firing three rounds. 5s and 6s are going to cause shock. So that's 2 shock on those Soviets there. It's not enough to make them force them back yet. So we are now on to the they are firing at between 9 and 18 inches, and it's an okay shot because they're in the cornfields. So we're going on 6s to hit. 3 hits will be a pin, 4 hits will be a suppression. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, so they're suppressed straight away. That's all it's hit. So let's quickly re-roll those, see what happens. There's no junior leader in there, no leader. So we've got 1, 2, 3 shock on them. So they've already got 3, so they're now on 6. They also have only 5 men in there, so that's going to force them back 2 inches. So they fall back to here. So it's the Romanians platoon 1. Unfortunately, the guys up on the hill don't have enough actions to do anything. These have already fired. This section down here is shattered. They've only got these ones here. These can fire. They're basically rolling 2 dice. Same as before, they're going to need 6s to hit. They're firing this same section here. So let's just see. 5 and a 4, so that's no hits anyway. And then straight back in with the Allied Platoon 1. So it's basically these guys. 2 of their sections are smashed up, but they do have the section up at the front, which is going to be firing at this Romanian section here, what remains of it. They're looking at 5+. It's an okay shot because they're up on that hill. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits. It's still a pretty intact section, that, so let's see what this does to them. There is a big man in there as well, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 3 kills and 2 shock. So that's going to kill, let's just work this out, because that will kill most of the section, either all the section or the big man. Let's just roll for him. 1 to 3, he's hit and killed. No, he's not. So that section goes with its shock. So there's just a big man up there on his own. And now it's the Soviet CO turn. So he is, it's the bigger man. So he's commanding the 2 MMGs to fire across over here. This is going to be a poor shot at long range. So they're going to need a 6 and then a 5 to hit. And a 5 hits or 6 hits will be, respectively, will be pinned and suppressed. So let's see. Well, the first one, rolling all 18 of its dice, so we're looking for 6s. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Re-roll those, we'll see how many of those hit on a 5 or above. Only 1, so there's no pins and suppressions. And what does it do? It is a kill. There is their senior leader in there, their big man, so it might be him on a 1. 5, no it's not, so it's one of the rifles, so we're taking him off. And then the second MMG is doing the same thing, 6s to hit and then 5s again. So that's 1, 2, 3 hits this time. So now we need 5+. So that's 2 hits. That's not done too bad. Roll again, see what they are. 1 shock and 1 kill. So again, there is the big man in there. So let's just see if it's him. Roll again. 8. No, it's not. So it is one of the rifles. So the Allied Big Man 2 has moved this section forward so it can fire, because it was being blocked by the other section behind, which was a bit smashed up. He's also getting this unit here to fire as well with his second activation. Now they're only firing 17 dice because they've got shock, but they're firing at the Romanians here, and they need 5s and 6s to hit. So that's 3 hits. They're trying their best to destroy that Romanian section. Let's see what those hits are. 2 1s is nothing, a 3 is another shock. So they're only causing shock, not casualties yet. The Romanians just pulled their other support card. Got it slightly wrong. This battery should have remained in place anyway, but I'm going to play it as though another one will fall on the same place. So it's going to do the same effect as it did with the previous hits. So the Russians, they're all under this hit. They're all taking 4 hits because it's 81mm battery, 4 mortars firing. It's a great shot because they're basically in the open. There's no cover. So we work our way through each one and work out how many hits they have. So the first one at the front here, they take 2, 4, 7, which is 3 hits and a pin. So let's just get these in so I'll remember them. I'll come back to them. The second one here, this one has taken 10, 14. Well, that's pretty nasty. That's 6 and a suppression. So again, we'll just put this in and we'll roll for these casualties in a second. And the final one has taken 11, 14, 15, 16, that's even worse. So that's 7 this time, 7 hits, and also a suppression, but they're already suppressed anyway, so it makes no difference. So we'll work our way through these, doing the damage on each of these. The one at the front with the big man in there. See what happens to them. We'll re-roll that. So we've got a pinned and a kill. Sorry, not pinned, a shock and a kill. Let's just see if that hit is on the big man. For one, it is. No, it's not. So it's another one of the riflemen killed. The next one here with 6 hits on it. Let's see what happens to them. We have another kill, 2 more shock. So their shock now is on 5. And they take another kill as well. So that means there are, well, there's 6 in there, they've got 5 shock. So they're okay from a losing their bottle point of view, and then the very last one had 7 hits on it. Now this is already a pretty badly smashed up section, so let's just see what happens with these. We've got 1, 2, 3 kills on those, and 3 shock. They've already got a ton of shock, so that takes them up to 9. They also then take another 3 kills, so 1 from there, 2 from there, so that leaves 2 men left over in there. Just going to swap that for that, it looks better. So that's 2 men left over, so that means they will then retreat 14 inches, so they've fallen back actually off the table, so they're lost. So after that mighty stonk, they've lost another section. Right, we're back with the Stugs. They're both going to be firing down at the section here on the edge. I'm going to say it's an okay shot, up to 18 inch close range. So 3 shots from each, ones are misses. So let's start with the first one. Re-roll that, 3, and a 3 is 6. So that is, as I said, an okay shot, so that's 3 hits. So let's roll for those. 2 kills and 1 shock. So let's just put a dice down here so we can see what we've got. So there's the 1 shock. Just turn that away. There we go, 2 kills. Then their second shot is a miss. His third shot is another miss. So the other Stug, first one, that's a 9. So that's a hit, a palpable hit. So that's 4 hits and a pin. They're pinned anyway because of the fire. So we've got, let's see, we've got 2 kills and 2 more shock. So that's that section, that bit off. So that takes their shock up to 3. Shift that in there, and then he's got 2 more rounds of firing. So his first one is 5. That's another 2 hits. So that's another kill and another shock. So I think, yeah, they're now broken. And then he has 1 more round of firing, and that's a 7. That's 3 hits. So let's just see what that does. So we've got 2 more shock. So that takes their shock right up to 6. They are then 3 shock over their limit of 3 men. So that's 3 times 2 is they fall back 6 inches. Right, we've got the Romanian R2s firing. They're firing at the Soviets here in front of them. Same with this guy here. He's minusing 2 off his dice. He's just rolling normally. So we'll start with a -2. Any ones are misses anyway. So the first one, 2 is 0. His second shot, 2 is 0. And his last shot is a 1. So we will call that a 1. It's an okay shot, so that's 1 hit. So it is 6 is a kill. That's another Soviet killed in there. And our second R2, the final one, again just firing normally, okay shots, ones are misses. So let's see, a 4 is 2 hits. Let's roll for those. So that's another kill and a shock. So they're on 3 kills in there. His second shot is a 4. So that's 2 hits. So that's another kill and another shock. So that's 4 killed now. And their shock is on 2. And then his third and final shot is a 3, is 1 hit. So that is nothing. So they've taken out half of that section and shocked them. Okay, so I've just pulled the T-break card and I'm calling the game. I think the Soviets are going to be very pushed to actually pull this back from the position they're in at the moment. I'll just show you here on the Romanian left flank. They've still got 30 unit figures left, which are in 3 sections. They've got 1 smashed up section here, but they're leaving that behind. They've also got 2 Stugs, which have absolutely battered the Soviet right flank, and they're falling back as it happens now. They just need a couple more shots against them. Even if they were to lose some more shock, they would soon fall back off the table and disappear. There's what, 3 men left in that section and 2 men left in that one there. So there's three men left over on this side. The only anti-tank capabilities they have are the 2 MMGs here, and the Stugs are literally on top of them and will most likely deal with them, you know, next turn. If not this turn, well, it would be next turn because I pulled the T card. But yeah, the Stugs would destroy those pretty quickly, and also their big man. As I say, the Romanians were now starting to move more towards this flank over here. So we'll take a look at what's happening on this side. We've got the Russians here, Soviets here are getting battered underneath this mortar fire. There's 5 men left in this section, there's 5 men left in this section. Both of them have taken shock, so it wouldn't be long before they disappeared. The 2 BA-10s had been abandoned. This Soviet section here, this unit has taken a battering. 5 men left with 6 shock. Any more shock, they'll be sent back. 2 men left here with 4 shock. Again, any more shock, they would be off the table. This section is down to 4 men with 2 shock, and it is facing 2 R2 tanks. Although they're not the best tanks on the planet, they are still tanks and they are infantry. Romanians on this side, they didn't really get past this high water mark here in the cornfields. This section is still relatively intact. It's lost 2 men, has a bit of shock. This section is pretty battered, smashed to pieces, and this one is down to 2 men with 6 shock, so they're not going anywhere either. They do still have their tank killers and also their mortar and their big man as well, who's in charge. But as I said, we've got this full section here of about 30 men coming over to deal with what is probably a handful of Soviet soldiers. I'm not going to tot them up, you could probably work it out yourself really. There's probably about 15 to 20 men left over here, so they wouldn't last very long. As I say, if I carried on fighting this game at this point, I think, yeah, it just will become a slogging match, and it'll just be a case that the Soviets are going to lose anyway. However, compared to the last I Ain't Been Shot Mum game I had, this wasn't such a walkover for the Germans, or the Axis in this case. This was a pretty hard slog. Even with the Stugs, they were probably they did a lot of good work, but one of those was taken out even. So even Stugs are susceptible to fire from small BA-10 armoured cars. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this game. I've enjoyed playing it, as always. Nice to get some different units on the board as well. Some Romanians, I do like using the Romanians. And also some different tanks. Slightly different period to some other World War II gaming. I Ain't Been Shot Mum is still a great game. I have made plenty of rules mistakes, forgotten things, but I don't think anything has changed the outcome of the game whatsoever. If you've enjoyed it, please leave me a comment, give me a like, give me a subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the next AAR whenever I play another solo game of I Ain't Been Shot Mum. Thanks for watching.